The black ocean of space stretched forever, silent and endless. Far from the busy lanes of the galaxy, a single survey vessel drifted between nameless stars. The cavern crew had been scanning empty sectors for months, charting rocks and dead worlds, logging faint radiation traces, and mapping cold gas clouds no one would ever visit. Even the hum of the ship felt tired. Captain Varric sat in his chair, staring at the same cluster of stars they had passed 3 days ago, wondering if anything at all, would break the monotony. That was when the signal came. It was faint, so faint it almost blended with the static background of the universe. A blip. A tone. Short pattern that repeated every 20 seconds. At first, the crew thought it was a glitch in the sensors, another malfunction from overworked equipment. But Jera, the ship's science officer, leaned forward with a frown. "That's no glitch," she said quietly. "That's structured. Someone or something is broadcasting." Her words brought everyone's eyes to the console. The transmission was old, very old. It carried distortions that hinted at centuries of travel through space, bouncing off asteroids and drifting between stars. The pattern was simple but deliberate. 3 pulses, a pause, then a long tone. Repeat. It was primitive by modern galactic standards, but it had personality. Jera enhanced the signal, stripped away the static, and the sound filled the bridge. It was eerie. It felt less like a machine and more like a whisper from across time. Varric checked the source. The signal came from a small blue and green world on the edge of a forgotten arm of the galaxy. No major trade routes, no registered colonies. The world wasn't even marked on recent star charts, only a faded and ancient survey records. According to the Cavron Collective's archives, it was classified as uninhabited, no value. But the readings told a different story. The planet's atmosphere was rich in oxygen. There were large bodies of water. Temperatures were mild. And strangest of all, energy readings suggested that some of its structures still, had active power sources. "Ruins," said the navigator, staring at the data, "and not small ones. Cities. Whole cities." The captain hesitated. Many forgotten worlds were dangerous radiation storms, hidden predators, ancient traps left behind by civilizations that didn't want visitors. But something about this felt different. The signal was weak, yes, but it wasn't dying. It was steady, consistent, as if it was waiting. Varric came at his decision. "Set course," he ordered. "Let's see what's down there." The journey took them 2 days. The planet grew in the viewports, a bright marble against the void. Blue oceans glimmered in the sunlight, white clouds curled in slow swirls, and vast continents stretched out with forests, mountains, and strange geometric patterns visible even from orbit. Jera adjusted the long-range optics to focus on one of the landmasses. The moment the image sharpened, she froze. "What is that?" asked the captain. It was a face, not a living one, but carved into the ground itself, so large it could be seen from space. 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth set in a determined line. The features were strange but symmetrical, and unlike any known species in the collective's database. Whoever made it had shaped entire valleys and hills into the design. It was a monument, or perhaps a warning. The crew was silent. Then Jera whispered, "It's looking at us." They moved into orbit. The ship's sensors scanned the planet in detail, feeding back more impossible results. Most of the cities were intact, untouched by erosion or weather, as if invisible hands had protected them for hundreds of years. Roads ran straight for miles. Its towers reached high into the sky, their glass and metal shining as though they had been cleaned yesterday. And yet the streets were empty. The strange part was the satellites. The planet had dozens of them, still in low orbit, still functioning. But instead of transmitting between each other, they all focused their signals outward away from the planet into deep space. "What are they talking to?" the navigator asked. Jera's voice was quiet when she answered. "Or who?" The captain ordered one more scan before sending a landing team. That's when the real shock came. The last data burst from the surface carried a short message decoded instantly by the ship's AI. The words appeared on every screen on the bridge. Welcome, VARIK. Single quotes, skin chilled. How did it know our language? I asked. The AI didn't answer, simply repeated the word. That night, as the ship drifted in silent orbit, no one on board truly slept. They'd all seen unexplored worlds before. They'd all faced danger, but this was different. It felt personal. The next morning, under a pale golden sun, the landing craft descended. It broke through thin, high clouds and came down over a city of silver towers and green parks. The place was beautiful, in a strange, alien way, yet familiar, as though it belonged to a species that understood symmetry and grace as much as efficiency. The craft touched down in the center of what looked like a grand plaza, surrounded by statues of tall, two-eyed beings holding strange weapons. The air was clean. The wind was soft. Silence was crushing. The team stepped out, their boots echoing. Faintly against the stone, Jarrus scanned for life. The readings were confusing, no warm-blooded creatures nearby, but plenty of faint movement far in the distance, like something watching from beyond the buildings. The captain ordered them to move toward a massive structure that looked like a government hall or temple. Its doors were open, but the shadows inside seemed too deep for the daylight. As they entered, the walls told stories. Painted murals showed. The tall beings, humans standing against monstrous creatures with teeth like swords, defeating them with strategy and firepower. Another wall showed the same beings in space, their ships sleek and deadly, pushing back fleets of strange alien warships. One last mural showed them disappearing into a bright light, leaving their cities empty. Jarrah touched the wall. The paint was fresh, possible but fresh. A sound echoed from deeper inside the building's soft, deliberate footsteps. The crew froze. "Identify yourself," Ferret called, his voice shaking more than he wanted. No reply came, but the footsteps stopped. Then, somewhere high above them, a faint metallic voice spoke in their own language. "You have come far." Every member of the landing team spun around, searching for the source. Nothing moved. Varric tried to sound calm. "You received your signal. Who are you?" There was silence, then a long, slow laugh. It wasn't mocking. It wasn't friendly either. It was the sound of someone who knew more than they would say. Finally, the voice replied, "We are the reason you came, and now you cannot leave." Before anyone could react, the doors slammed shut with a deep metallic boom, and somewhere, deep below the city, something began to wake. The darkness inside the hall grew heavier, pressing on the crew like invisible hands. Jarrah's scanner flickered with static before going dead. The captain's communicator buzzed with broken fragments of words that made no sense, as though multiple voices were speaking at once, whispering in a language older than the stars. Varric moved his hand to his sidearm but didn't draw it. Instinct told him weapons might not help here. The crew glanced at each other, their breathing quickening. Then a tremor ran through the floor, gentle at first, then stronger, like something vast was shifting beneath the city. Dust fell from the high ceiling. The statues outside groaned, their stone eyes now seeming to watch the newcomers with silent judgment. A low hum filled the air, so deep it vibrated in their bones. The walls lit up with moving images, not murals this time, but something like ancient recordings. They showed the same tall, two-eyed beings, the humans, standing at the center of enormous councils of alien races. The humans were always in the middle, their hands raised, speaking with authority. Armies bowed to them. Entire planets seemed to listen. "They ruled," whispered Jarrah, her voice trembling. "They ruled everything." Then the images shifted. Battles, planets burning, cities collapsing under alien bombardments. The humans fought back with brutal efficiency, their ships cutting through enemy fleets like blades through water. The enemy races screamed and fled, but the humans followed. They didn't just win, they erased. Entire species disappeared from the recordings. And then, just as suddenly, the humans were gone. No death shown, no last stand, just empty cities. Abandoned ships drifting in space, in silence. The voice returned, echoing from every wall. "We left because they feared us, and they were right to. The floor trembled again. From the shadows at the far end of the hall, a shape emerged. It was tall, human-shaped, but wrong. Its skin was metallic, its eyes bright with cold light. It stepped forward slowly, each movement precise and deliberate. "Who are you?" Varric demanded again. The figure stopped a few meters away. "A guardian," it said, "left behind to deliver the message. We knew one day someone like you would find us. That is why the signal was sent." "What message?" Jera asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The guardian tilted its head, almost like it was studying them. "Do not search for them. Not try to follow their trail. You will not survive it. They are not your saviors. They are not your kin. They are humanity." The word carried weight, as though it was more than just a name. The guardian stepped closer. "And if they learn you exist, they will come, and you will wish they had not." Before the crew could respond, the ground shook violently. Somewhere, far below, metal ground against metal, and a deep roar rose through the floor. The guardian turned its head toward the sound. "They are waking," it said calmly. "Who?" Varric asked sharply. But the guardian didn't answer. Instead, it raised one metallic arm and pointed toward the sky. "Go. Leave now if you can." The doors at the far end of the hall burst open, not slowly this time, but with the force of an explosion. Blinding daylight poured in. The crew didn't hesitate. They ran, boots pounding the stone floor, their hearts hammering. The plaza outside was no longer empty. Figures were moving between the statues, tall, thin shapes with long limbs and pale faces, each one watching the crew. With unblinking eyes, the figures didn't move to block them. They only stood still, as though waiting for something. Jera's voice cracked through the communicator. "Shuttle." Now, they sprinted through the city's silent streets. Past towers that seemed to lean toward them, past windows that glinted as though something unseen stood behind the glass. Every step brought the hum in the air stronger, deeper, until it was almost a heartbeat. The shuttle came into view, its ramp already lowering, but just as they reached it, the hum stopped. The city went silent. And then across the entire planet, speakers, hidden in the walls, in the streets, in the satellites above, spoke a single word: "Welcome back." The crew froze. That wasn't for them. That was for someone else. In the distance, high above the atmosphere, something massive broke through the black of space. A shape like a spearhead, dark and silent, sliding into orbit. The ship was unlike any they had. Ever seen sharp angles, silver hull, glowing faintly with golden lines that pulsed like veins? The guardian's voice came over the communicator, low and certain. "You are too late. They have returned." Varric looked up at the alien ship and felt the cold certainty sink into his bones. Whatever humanity was, they were here now. The alien ship hung in the sky like a shadow that did not belong, blocking the sunlight in slow, deliberate arcs. Its golden lines pulsed brighter now, like a heart awakening after a long sleep. Every pulse seemed to ripple through the air, making the crew's ears ring and their teeth ache. Varric didn't wait. "Everyone aboard!" Now, his voice was sharp, but it couldn't hide the fear underneath. The crew scrambled up the ramp of the shuttle, slamming the hatch shut behind them. The engines roared to life, lifting them above the crumbling city. From this height, they could see more of the strange structures stretching for miles, streets in perfect grids. Towers that spiraled like frozen smoke, and in the center, the great hall where they had met the Guardian. As they climbed higher, Jera's console lit up with warning symbols. "Captain, we're being scanned." Her voice was tight, almost breaking. "And it's not local tech. This is advanced, way beyond us." "Lock it if you can," Varric ordered. "I'm trying," Jera said, fingers flying across the controls, but it's like it's already inside the system. It's not hacking. It's just there. Then the Guardian's voice came over the comms again. "You cannot hide from them. They already know your names." Varric slammed the comm switch. "Why are they here? You said they were gone?" "They were," the Guardian replied, calm as ever, "until now." Below, the pale figures in the streets were gone, completely vanished, as if the city had swallowed them. In their place, the hum returned stronger, faster, almost eager. The alien ship shifted, spearhead design slowly rotating until its sharp nose pointed directly at the shuttle. "Captain," Jarrah whispered, "it's locking on. Break atmosphere. Full burn." Varric shouted. The shuttle surged upward, its hull groaning under the strain. The sky turned from pale gold to black, the planet's curve shrinking beneath them. The alien ship followed, its movements too smooth, too precise, like it wasn't chasing so much as herding. The Guardian spoke again. This time the voice came not just through, comes it filled the shuttle's speakers, their headsets even. The vibrations in the floor. You cannot fight them. You can only hope they ignore you. Varric's hands clenched on the controls. "I don't care. We're not going to die here." But then something happened. Something that made every heart in the shuttle stop. The alien ship changed shape. Its hull folded and shifted like liquid metal, the spearhead opening in the center to reveal a human face, not flesh and bone, but an enormous, metallic likeness of one. Its eyes glowed gold, and when its mouth opened, the voice that spoke was not the Guardian's. It was deep, it's cold and human. "We have been watching," it said. "You have wandered where you should not. You carry what is ours. Return it, or be unmade." Jarrah's eyes widened. "What? What do they mean?" "We don't have anything," the Guardian answered quietly. "You do? You have your blood." The meaning hit Varric like a blow. These things weren't looking for relics or artifacts. They were looking for people, for descendants, for something inside the crew themselves. Before anyone could speak, beams of golden light shot from the alien ship, wrapping around the shuttle like ropes. Systems went dead. Gravity failed. And in that moment, Varric understood the humans hadn't just ruled the galaxy. They had designed it, and now they were reclaiming what they believed was theirs. The shuttle began to drift, pulled toward the waiting ship. The golden beams tightened around the shuttle like the grip of a giant's hand. No matter how much Varric fought the controls, the craft would not respond. The engines roared uselessly, then sputtered into silence. The crew floated in their harnesses, helpless as the alien ship drew them in. Through the cockpit glass, the vast metallic face loomed larger. Its golden eyes did not blink, did not shift. They simply burned with a fixed, predatory focus.
Ow.
Each pulse of light from the alien vessel felt like it was reaching inside their skulls, peeling away thoughts, memories, fears. "Varric," Jarrah whispered. "I can feel them. In my head, they're looking at everything. Don't let them," Varric growled. It was an order he knew they couldn't follow. The shuttle entered the shadow of the ship, and all stars vanished from view. Massive doors opened ahead of them, revealing a hangar so enormous it could have swallowed a city block whole. Inside, hundreds of other vessels, different designs, different species, sat in neat rows, silent and abandoned. Some looked brand new, others were rusted and broken, as if they had been here for centuries. None of them showed any sign of their crews. "This isn't a ship," Terran said, his voice shaking. "It's a graveyard." The shuttle landed with a bone-jarring thud. Immediately, the golden beams faded, but the silence that replaced them was worse.
Ow.
No alarms, no footsteps, just the faint hum of something unseen, like breathing from the walls themselves. The Guardian's voice returned soft but urgent. "Do not resist them. They will test you. If you fail, you will vanish as all the others have." Before anyone could respond, a new sound filled the hangar, a deep, rhythmic thump, like the beating of an enormous heart. The walls themselves began to shift, metal panels folding away to form a wide, glowing corridor. At the far end, something moved. They came forward slowly, their shapes blurring in the golden light. At first, they seemed like humanoids in armor, but as they stepped closer, the crew saw the truth. They were not wearing armor. They were armor. Living liquid metal forms with smooth, featureless faces except for the faint outline of human. Jaws beneath their plating. One of them stepped ahead of the others and spoke. Its voice like steel grinding against stone. "Step forward. Be measured." Varric's instincts screamed to run, but there was nowhere to go. With a look at his crew, he unbuckled, floated down, and pushed himself toward the glowing corridor. One by one, the others followed, their footsteps echoing too loudly in the vast, empty space. The metallic beings led them into a chamber unlike anything they had seen before. In the center floated a massive sphere of light, pulsing slowly, each beat sending ripples of gold through the walls. Round it, holographic images, flickered worlds, galaxies, and faces. Human faces. Millions of them. One of the beings gestured toward the sphere. "Place your hand within. The truth will decide." Varric hesitated, but the moment his fingers touched the light, a flood of visions exploded in his mind, battlefields stretching across alien skies. Fleets of human ships, dominating stars, worlds, burning under banners that bore a single symbol, a golden circle, split in half. And at the center of it all, humanity, not as explorers, but as rulers, conquerors, gods. The visions ended, leaving Varric gasping. The being's voice rumbled again. "You are their seed, their shadow, and you do not belong outside their chains." The crew stared in shock. They had always believed humans were small, scattered, barely a whisper in the galaxy's great story. But here was the truth. Undeniable and terrifying humans had once ruled it all, and someone had erased that history. Varric turned to the others. But before he could speak, the metallic beings closed in. "You will come with us," they said. "The awakening begins." The corridor twisted downward, taking them deeper into the alien ship's core. There were no doors, no windows, only walls of liquid metal that seemed to shift and breathe as they passed. Every so often the surface rippled. Ghostly faces appeared human, faces whispering words too faint to understand before melting back into the gold. The metallic beings walked ahead in perfect silence, steps making no sound on the floor. Behind them, Varric's crew moved like prisoners heading toward an execution they couldn't see. Jera leaned close to Varric and whispered, "They know something about us. What? Something we don't. Did you see those faces in the light? They looked like us, but older, like they've been here for thousands of years." "I saw," Varric replied, his jaw tight, "and I don't think they were dead." The path opened into a colossal chamber that made the hangar look small. It was spherical, with platforms spiraling upward along the walls like the inside of some ancient temple. At the very center floated a gigantic crystal larger than their entire shuttle, its surface filled with swirling golden mist. The leader of the metallic beings stopped and turned to face them. "This is the archive. All. That was all that is, all that will be, is here. Humanity's past is not lost. It is hidden." With a slow wave of its hand, the crystal brightened, and visions filled the air, humans building cities on alien worlds, commanding massive fleets, defeating enemies that blotted out the stars. But the scenes grew darker. Empires fell, burned. Humans turned their weapons on their own colonies. In the final images, the galaxy itself seemed to rise against them. Alien civilizations uniting to erase humanity from existence. "They could not kill you all," the being continued. "So they buried you, erased you from history, left you to believe you were small, weak, alone." Varric stepped forward. "Why are you showing us this now?" The being's faceless head tilted. "Because the galaxy has forgotten its fear of you. It grows arrogant again, and that is dangerous for them, and for you. The cycle must not repeat without your awareness." Before Varric could ask what that meant, the golden mist inside the crystal shifted, and his breath caught. He saw Earth, not as it was now, but ancient, glowing with strange energy. Towers taller than mountains reached into the sky, and starships rose from its oceans like silver arrows. But then, in an instant, the towers crumbled, the oceans boiled, and a curtain of darkness swept over the planet. The vision ended, leaving the chamber dim once more. Terran's voice trembled. "If this is true, then Earth is a grave, and we're just the ghosts walking on it." The leader turned and began walking again. "You will see the truth for yourself. But once you see it, You cannot return to what you were, and neither will your world. The words hung in the air like a sentence. Varric didn't know if they were heading toward salvation or a final reckoning that had been waiting for humanity for millennia. The final passage felt endless, yet there was no turning back. The metallic beings moved ahead with the slow certainty of those who already knew the end of the path. Behind them, Varric's crew followed, each step heavier than the last, as if the air itself had grown thicker. Then, without warning, the corridor opened into the largest space they had seen yet. A vast dome stretched above them, its surface rippling, like water touched by a breeze. In the center stood a massive gate to colossal arcs of black stone joined by a swirling golden void. The hum of it was deep, almost alive, a sound that seemed to vibrate inside their bones. The leader stopped at the gate. Beyond this point lies what was hidden, the truth that has been kept from you for countless ages. Once you step through, your place in the galaxy will change forever. Varric took a breath, glancing at his crew. Their faces were pale, but determined. Jera's eyes met his, and she gave the smallest nod. They stepped forward as one. Crossing the threshold was like falling without moving. The golden light swallowed them, and for a moment there was nothing, no sound, no weight, no breath. Then the world reformed around them. They stood on Earth, but not the Earth they knew. This one was impossible. Towering structures of glass and metal reached into a sky lit by 3 suns. Ships moved through the air in seamless silence, vanishing into the upper atmosphere. Humans walked in streets paved with glowing patterns, their faces confident, proud, unafraid. The air carried the smell of oceans and flowers they had never known. "This," the leader's voice echoed, though the metallic form was nowhere to be seen, "is the memory of your true world. This was humanity before the fall." Varric's chest tightened. "Why are you showing us this? To torture us?" "No," the voice replied. "To warn you. The galaxy did not fear your weapons. It feared your will. It feared that nothing could break you till you turned that will upon yourselves." The vision shifted. The skies darkened. The great towers cracked and fell. Oceans boiled. Cities burned. Above it all, fleets of alien ships blotted out the light. But the last blow did not come from them. It came from Earth itself. A single, blinding wave of energy spread from the planet's core, erasing everything, friend and foe alike. When the light faded, they were back in the golden corridor. Varric's voice was barely a whisper. "We did it to ourselves." "Yes," the leader said, stepping from the shadows. "And now, after millennia of silence, the galaxy has found you again. They will try to finish what they began, but they will regret it if you remember who you truly are." The gate behind them began to close. Varric didn't know if the warning was a gift, or the first step toward the same destruction that had ended their world once before. But as the golden light faded, one truth was clear: humanity was not what the galaxy thought it was. Soon, everyone would remember.